Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining in. My name is Omotola Abudu. I'm the Legal and Compliance Lead at Vind HQ, and I'll be your host for today. Today, we have a very exciting session where we talk about regulatory compliance for digital lenders in Nigeria. It's such an important topic, especially for us here at Vind, because in our business, we have to, our main customers are lenders, and there's a lot of interaction in the digital lending space. And one of the things that we're very particular about is ensuring all round compliance, especially regulatory compliance, because if you operate in a space such as the digital lending one, or just the lending ecosystem, you know that it's quite regulated. It's not as heavily regulated as the banking sector, but it's still quite regulated because you are interfacing with customers directly, and it's also in the financial services space. So for today, we had the delight of bringing on one of our partners, of Syntegral Legal. They are one of our legal partners that also works with us hand in hand in ensuring regulatory compliance. And so we had a little conversation with them about extending this information as well to digital lenders. So how do you ensure you're compliant? What are the steps you need to take? What are the regulatory provisions that guide digital lending in Nigeria? These are the kind of things that we're hoping will be shared on the session today. And really hope that as you participate, as you interact, you get so much feedback from it. And yes, there is going to be a special consideration for anybody that would like to engage our legal partners. We were able to get a very special arrangement. So if you are here on this call or in this session, and after the call you'd like to engage them, it is a special consideration for you for doing that. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Olayemi Akinpelumi on the call. Olayemi is a very, very experienced person. She's someone that I have worked with very, very intimately. And I know that she has the requisite skill set. So here is just a brief bio of Olayemi. Olayemi obtained her Bachelor of Law degree from Afebala with a first class. So you know it's not just there's a lot of merit to the claims that, or to whatever position that she's providing. She's also an associate of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. And Olayemi is also an associate in the corporate and commercial group of Integral Legal Practice, where she provides legal advisory service to clients and a wide range of legal matters. Hi, Olayemi.
Good afternoon.
Hi,
Can you
so
hear
great
me?
to have you. Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Hi, Olami, you can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, so I already did a brief introduction about you. But I mean, just before you go into your presentation, I mean, what did you, how pressing do you think is this subject matter that is ensuring regulatory compliance in the digital lending space, and what do you think the effects could be for people in this industry?
This is actually something that should be discussed regularly because companies need to know the regulations and what they need to do to ensure proper compliance with their regulators to avoid sanctions and undue embarrassment of their operations. So this is something that most companies need to know in the digital money lending space to ensure that they can properly provide regulators. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Could you take the last part again? Just, I think your network glitched a bit.
Yes, I'm trying to refresh my network. Okay. I said that digital money lending companies, they need to be fully aware of the laws, the regulations, and the policies that
Mm. Hi, Lime.
to
Can you
meet
hear
up
me
with the
now?
trending needs. Yes, 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 I can hear you.
Okay, I think we lost
So
you
is
for a
network
bit.
better now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me
yes, it's much
clearly?
better now. Yes, it's
Okay,
better
can you hear
now.
me clearly now? Yes,
Yes.
yes. So okay, as I was saying, digital money lending, the market is very trendy because of technology involved. So the regulators usually enact laws more constantly to ensure that they meet up with trending market needs. So these companies, they need to be in power with the regulators to ensure that they are not left behind, that they understand and that they are aware of the laws and regulations that are in existence, so that they don't, so
Mm.
that they are not working against the laws and compliance of these regulators.
Thank you so much for that insight. So I'll just hand over to you to just take us through what you have for us today. If you have any questions, if you're on the audience side and you have any questions, you can please feel free to drop your questions either here in the comments or on any of our social media handles. You can also pick that up, but I mean preferably here as well. And then we'll attend to it once we get into the Q&A session. So allow me over to you.
Thank you very much, Mota. Thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. So I'm going to share my screen so that there'll be better understanding of what we are going to discuss today. Sorry, just one moment. Okay. Now, our topic today, my position is to navigate everyone to understand regulatory compliance as a digital money lender. And first of all, we have to understand who a digital money lender is. Right now, our law only provides that a company properly registered, only a company that is properly registered can act as a digital money lender. And for this company to be, sorry, okay, a digital money lender is an organization that allows individuals to apply for and receive loans through online platforms. This means that the there are usually apps that are registered, that and introduced to the public for customers to apply for loans through them. And our focus today will be for the laws applicable to Lagos and Abuja, because these are the core for commercial transactions in Nigeria. The regulatory bodies of digital money lenders are Corporate Affairs Commission, the Chief Magistrate Court, that's for Abuja, then Lagos State Ministry of Home Affairs and Tourism, Lagos, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, and Nigerian Data Protection Commission. So there are usually four stages that a digital money lending company will have to go through for it to be properly registered and have the ability to carry out operations as a digital money lender. The first stage is that you have to be registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, which is CAC. And for you to undergo through this process, you have to submit some documents and the name of the company, the address, the share capital. But there's something to note in this. In Abuja, the share capital, a company with 1 million share capital can operate as a digital money any company. However, in Lagos, the minimum share capital is 20 million. And so this has encouraged or influenced companies to register in Abuja instead of Lagos because of the minimum share capital and other differences in the regulations regulating digital money lending. Usually this stage, which is the registration of company, is usually very swift and um it has it does not really, you don't go through, you don't have lots of problem or issues in this stage because you just have to register the company with CAC. Then the next stage is to obtain the money lender's license and certificates. There are two documents that are usually issued by the state government agency that regulates money lending license. The first document is the money lender's license, while the second one is the certificate issued by the state authority to the company authorizing it to carry out money lending license. Sorry, money lending operation. So in Abuja, you only have to apply to the Chief Magistrate Court for you to obtain these two documents. But in Lagos, it is different. You have to apply to the Magistrate Court for the license, and you have to apply to the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Ministry of Home Affairs and Tourism issues the certificate, while the Magistrate Court issues the license. Then this license issued is not it does not exist forever. You have to renew it, subject to renewal every year. So once it's December 31st, the company has to ensure that its registration has been renewed for operation to start the beginning of the year, that's January 1st of the next year. And the time frame is usually different because in Abuja, you can get it done within 2 to 4 weeks, while in Lagos, it is more tedious because of the separation of power between the Magistrate Court and the Ministry of Home Affairs. And because of that, it takes longer time. The documentation you would need for you to apply, for you to move to this stage, you must complete your registration with CAC. So have all the necessary CAC documents, your certificate, your memorandum of association, your status. Because right now we no longer deal with CAC 7 or CAC 2. What we have now is status report that reflects the um, director structure, the shareholding structure, the shareholders and secretary of the company. So you have to attach these documents to your application. You also have to get police reports, police clearance reports. So and this the reason why this is needed is because the directors of the company have certified that the operations of this company will be lawful and will be done for the intended purpose. That's the object as stated in the MEMAT, which is Memorandum of Association. Then also tax clearance certificates of the company. However, it's important to note that for tax clearance certificates and evidence of payment of income tax, this will not be applicable to companies that are just registered because according to tax law, newly incorporated companies are not subject to payment of company income tax. So it's only existing companies that will be required to provide this necessary documentation. And also you have to provide director's sworn affidavits. So after this stage, a company can fully operate as a money lender. You can issue out loans to your customers. You can carry out the necessary process. All the permissible activities of a money lender can be done after the finalization of the stage where the court issues, in case of Abuja, where the court issues the where the court issues the license and the certificate, that's from B and C. Then in case of Lagos, where the court issues the license and the Ministry of Home Affairs issues the certificate. At this stage, you can operate as a money lender. But if you want to progress and you want to um, create an app for your customers to have access to loans, to have access to your operations, to your services, you have to go further into stage three. Because FCPC, which is the Con- Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, is created mainly to protect consumer rights. So you cannot proceed with with making your app public without ensuring that you've complied with the rules set up by FCCPC. So FCCPC was statutorily created to promote fair business practices and safeguard the interests of consumers. And to ensure this, they set out rules and regulations for companies to ensure that they stick by they strictly adhere to the provisions set out to ensure that consumer rights are protected. The first regulation, which is the primary regulation, is the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Act 2018. Then the most recent one is the Limited Interim Regulatory Framework and Guidelines for Digital Lending. So I'm going to give a brief history on this most recent regulation and what warranted its creation. It was noticed that these companies, the digital money lending companies, were taking advantage of the consumer data, and they're not respecting their privacy, they're not respecting third party privacy. So because of that, FCCPC and other regulators decided to create this regulation and guidelines to ensure that the consumer data rights are protected, their privacy rights are protected, even if these companies have access to their data, even if they have access to all the necessary information because of structure for obtaining loans, that does not warrant that these companies can abuse this the data the data of these consumers. So sorry, one moment. Okay. So after completion of the second phase, you have to make an application to FCCPC, and you have to ensure that you comply with all the rules, because on March 27th of this year, that was the deadline for all companies to ensure that they comply with the regulations of FCCPC, and any company that is found erring, their apps will be deleted from Google Play Store, and also they will make publication to customers and the public, telling them that this company no longer has the right to issue house loan, or is no longer is does not have the required license to operate as a digital money lender. There are certain documents that has to be registered, sorry, that has to be submitted to FCPC. The sales registration documents, brief description of business. FCPC made it easier by bringing out, like, there are two forms that the company has to ensure that it's fully completed. Apart from the documents to be submitted, these forms must be completed by the company. And also there's a declaration form that is provided to ensure that third party data privacy is respected. So the company is meant to, that is what a director of the company is meant to, director of the company is meant to swear in is that they are going to ensure that they comply with all relevant laws that protect third party data rights, and then these documents are submitted to FCPC. Though unlike other phases where they are a bit straightforward, for example, for CAC, there's a website. It has been digitized, so you can do everything online. For court process, you go to court within 2 or 3 weeks, you get feedback. FCPC is still they are still navigating the entire process, so it's not as straightforward as other phases. You get feedback from them, you get sometimes they query the applications based on new rules that are issued. So you have to ensure that you are up to date with new laws, the new guidelines that FCPC enacts, to ensure that when you are submitting your applications, you have all the necessary documents, you have all the necessary requirements, and when you submit them, you know that yes, the feedback you get will be a certificate or approval of your apps for your apps to be uploaded on Google Map and to be used by your customers. So if not, what you get will be back and forth with the staffs of FCPC, and it will just drag out the registration process, and then both ends will be frustrated because none of you are moving forward. You are still It will take almost 3 to 4 months or even more than, instead of it being faster than that. So you have to ensure that all your necessary documents are available. You have to ensure that you've submitted all the necessary documents, you've made the necessary declarations. Then also you have to collect the compliance audit report and privacy impact assessment report from Nigerian Data Protection Commission. Nigerian Data Protection Commission also is created for the protection of third parties, ensure that their rights, the data that they have is protected. Even if these companies are given access to the data, that does not mean that they should abuse the data that they have access to. So the company is required to approach NDPC and obtain the necessary reports and the necessary antitrust mark and submit it with FCPC, they showing that yes, that they will comply with the necessary laws, the necessary regulations to promote the protection of consumer privacy rights. The Nigerian Data Protection Commission, as I said earlier, this is also part of the test phase because you cannot you cannot approach FCPC if you don't have the antitrust mark or compliance for this report. Or you can approach them, but your application will be queried because you don't have the necessary report. So you have to ensure that you apply to NDPC and you obtain the antitrust mark, you obtain the compliance audit report and privacy impact assessment report. And then this will be submitted to the FCCPC. The main aim of FCCPC is to ensure that the rights of customers are protected. That is the reason for their creation. So the company has to ensure that it follows strictly with all laws and regulations that are protecting these rights. You cannot claim ignorance of laws, you cannot claim ignorance of the rules. You have to ensure that every regulation is adhered to, especially limited interim regulatory framework and guidelines for digital lending that was enacted 2022. This framework or this guideline was created specifically to ensure that the rights of customers are protected, because there was an issue where companies were known for harassing their customers. That's sorry, digital money lending companies were known for harassing their customers, where because they have access to the contacts of these customers, they send unsolicited messages to their contacts, and everything. So it was when FCPC and other regulators conducted their investigation, they noticed that it was pretty common among these companies, and they found a way to ensure that the rights of customers are protected. And even though these customers are they are soliciting for the services of this company, that does not mean that the company should abuse the the access that the customers are giving to them. So even though they are in operation, they must ensure that they look for proper means and procedures to obtain or to ensure collection of their funds or collection of their loans from customers, and that they should not adhere to extreme measures because they want to collect their loans or the they want to collect the loans made by customers. So from March 27, because there was a period where FCCPC went, they released a notice that they were suspending all registrations at March of this year. So any company that after registration, after completion of the registration with the Chief Magistrate Court, that's either in Abuja or Ministry of Home Affairs, that's for Lagos, from March 27 to it was April that they recently started their operation again, could where companies could submit their application process to FCPC and get the necessary permission to upload their apps. And once your application is approved, you have a free you have access to 5 apps that can be uploaded on Google Play Store. And then if you want to if you want to subscribe for more apps, then you have to make the necessary payment fee. And then once this is completed, the company can effectively begin its operation. Though just because your license has been approved or you have the necessary license to operate as a digital money lender, that does not mean that you are not still subjected to other compliance. You have to ensure that your your money lending license from the court, that's for Abuja, and from the court and Ministry of Home Affairs are renewed every year. And apart from that, you have to ensure that your operations are strictly in line with the regulations and the rules of SCPC. Because if there's any investigation or any product that says that sorry, if FCCPC should conduct their investigation and they should realize that the company is acting outside its regulations, the license will be revoked and the app will be deleted from Google Play Store. Also, they will make a publication denouncing the company as a fully licensed digital lending company. So apart from going through all the phases of registration with company, corporate affairs commission, of acquiring the money lending license from the courts, and also going further with getting approval from FCPC. You also have to ensure that the operations of the company are still in line with the intent of FCPC, which is protection of consumer rights. And also, because it was also according to their investigation, they noticed that apart from even companies that are registered with them, they still add illegal files, PDF files where they would transfer links to customers and tell them to use that link for that they'll be asked to use that link for to apply for loans. And when they discovered this, even though the company was licensed, they still revoked the license of the company because of the illegal activity So you have to ensure that you are, apart from going through the normal registration process, that the operations of the company are still in line with the guidelines of FCPC in order to prevent unnecessary embarrassment. Because imagine waking up one morning and then you are seeing your company's name on the internet saying that your license has been revoked, or that sorry, excuse me, or that you are engaged in an illegal activity. Even if you intend to apply to SSPC to um, request for renewal, that negative image, because apart from your operation, you have to ensure that you keep good PR. That negative image has already tainted the operations of the company. So to ensure that your PR is intact, and also that you're necessary to complete compliance with all the regulators, you have to ensure that you work in line with the guidelines of all these regulators. You have to ensure that not just the directors, also the staff, because sometimes the staff of the company might be very agile to bring in um, profits for the company, and they might want to go through shortenings. So you have to educate staff, create necessary seminars for the staff to ensure that they know the requirements, they know the laws, they know the guidelines, that this is the right way. This is the right way to acquire this. This is the wrong way for this. So that everybody will have the necessary knowledge required to protect the image of the company. So to obtain a digital money lender's license, the company has to go through three types of registration, which we've discussed earlier. The first registration is with CAC, and what the company will get from CAC will be the certificates of incorporation, the memorandum and articles of association. The memorandum and articles will state the objects of the company. And of course, for a company that wants to operate as a digital money lending company, you have to ensure that this is stated in your objects, because you cannot operate outside the objects of the company. That will be declared illegal. So you have to operate within the objects, and for that, the digital money lending operation has to be included as part of the objects of the company. Then for the articles of association, it's more of the laws within that regulates the internal structure of the company. And also status report, directors of the company, the share structure, the secretary. And you have to ensure that if you want to operate in Lagos, your share capital has to be 20 million. And if you're operating in Abuja, your share capital can be 1 million. Then after that stage, the second stage is with the courts, the magistrate courts for Abuja, and then the Ministry of Home Affairs for Lagos and courts. After that stage, you get your Form B and Form C, which is the license and certificate. Then from this stage, which is the third stage, will be to apply to FCPC. And before you approach the FCPC, you have to ensure that all your documents are ready. You've gotten the necessary documents from NDPC, and that you've made necessary declaration, you've attached the necessary documents, you filled out the forms, and then you approach FCPC and you submit these applications. Unlike CSC, where the registration can be done via portal, for in Abuja, for the course process, you have to submit physically. Then for FCPC, if you're in Abuja, you can submit physically, and or you can submit via mail. So once this is completed, the company can effectively operate as a digital money lending company. That is, you can issue out loans to customers through by making your app available, and usually for your app to be accessible, It has to be on Play Store, Google Play Store, so that customers can have access to download these apps and make and follow the necessary terms and conditions required to obtain the loan. Okay. Thank you very much for thank you very much for um, your attention, and as we went through the regulatory compliance required for digital money lending companies. So if there's any question that will be sorry, any question to help.
Hi, Olayemi. Thank you so much. That was so insightful. I mean, for me, there are a lot of things that really struck out, right? Like the differences between registering in Abuja and registering in Lagos. I know that a lot of lenders, especially those that are operating in Lagos, have encountered some bureaucratic issues while trying to get that registration ongoing. So, is there anything can you shed some light on whether or not it just makes sense to register or get your license in Abuja? Is that faster? Is that easier? Or is that going to be another regulatory headache on its own?
Okay. According to personal experience, it's faster and more effective if you follow the Abuja registration process, because in Abuja, but the issue is that for you to approach for you to go to Chief Magistrate Court in Abuja, you must have an address in Abuja. You can't have a Lagos address and then apply to the magistrate court that you want to operate as a digital money lending company. So for in this process, you have to ensure that you have a registered address in Abuja and then apply to the court. Because of the when I say delay, yes, the extended period for registration in Lagos, most companies or some companies are influenced to apply to or to use the Abuja registration process instead of Lagos, because apart you have to go through two means. You have to apply to the courts, and you also have to apply to the Ministry of Home Affairs for the same license that you get in Abuja if you apply to the courts. So it's
Exactly,
just
exactly. I think that's yeah. But cost wise, which one is more? Which one is cheaper?
when you are calculating cost, apart from monetary, you have to calculate your time. So if you consider the time spent, the energy spent, and the cost, Abuja will be a preferred option.
Okay, I think that's helpful in terms of just the process, timeline, and cost of registering in Lagos as opposed to Abuja. Because I'll be honest, it is a big thing. In my experience, I've had to procure at least like 3 or 4 money lending licenses, and Lagos can have you at it for like 7 months. And it's also interesting because these licenses are only valid for 1 year. So, I mean, how do you think this has affected lenders? Do you think it is this
Sorry,
regulatory
please, can you come again? I
burden?
can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's breaking.
Okay. Is it
Hello?
better now?
Okay, yes, it's better.
Okay. So I was saying that the timeline for like this registration, I know it presents like a serious hurdle for lenders where you have a license that is valid for just 1 year, and in that 1 year you spend 7 months out of it trying to conclude the process of getting the license. Do you think this issue would affect the amount of people that are open to or are looking to enter the lending space, or it doesn't really matter ultimately?
We can't say it doesn't really matter, but that's like that's the present what we are facing right now. Because if you really think about it, before you complete the um the registration process with courts. Once you get it, before you go to FCPC, you have, after everything, you have less than, if you are very lucky, less than 6 months of that year to complete for you to operate, and then you have to go through the same registration process again next year. But the only thing just that it's only the court, that's the money lending license, that you are required to renew. So even though the first year was tedious, you just know, you put it at the back of your mind that at least subsequently it's only one regulator that I have to contend with. So it's not be as stressful as the first year.
Okay. So we're going into the questions right now. But before we go into the questions, I mean, there's something I would like you to shed more light on, because when it comes to lending, micro lending at that scale, I don't even want to make it a digital thing, but when it comes to lending, I know there's actually at the moment really negative, like a negative outlook on lending because of the somewhat of no, they are not somewhat, but because of some of the predatory practices that some lending companies adopt. I've had a personal experience where a lending company reached out to me because of someone that had my number on his contact. Actually, I've had like two or three experiences like that. And then the lending company reached out to me and then sent me um some mock up, some graphic design of the person saying that the person has
Exactly.
HIV simply because the person did not pay the loans. It was very extreme. I said HIV.
Can you
So like
imagine?
what was your opinion on this? Like what do you think about this, and what do you think regulators are doing to curb this?
Okay. First of all, I will not say I understand them, but I guess where they are coming from. Because when you issue out loan, of course, you're expecting that this loan will be paid back, and then they want to ensure payment of this loan. But instead, there's a normal measure to follow to ensure this, but they go outside, like they really exceed this measure, and then they try all means. Sometimes they will even put up your obituary picture and say, or they'll say this person is a 419, that if you see this person, avoid this person. Person is wanted by Nigerian police force and everything. That's that, and the basic fundamental human right is protection of, you have to respect someone's privacy. So whenever they exceed this measure and they contact um people or contacts of the customers without the approval of their customers, they are disregarding the privacy rights of these customers. And that's why the regulators, especially FCPC, working in conjunction with other regulators, had to create the interim regulatory framework and guidelines for digital money lending companies, because they noticed that it was becoming very outrageous that they had access to all the contacts. They can send messages to all the contacts of the customers just because of delay in payments of the loan. So that's why they set up these regulations to ensure that if a company wants to if the company wants to ensure payment of its loan, e must adhere to the regulatory framework set up by FCPC. And whatever it does must ensure that the rights of its customers are protected, because the access was given just for the loan and not for any other purpose. So when you contact the persons or contacts of the customers, you are exceeding the access that the customer has given to you. So that's what FCPC is trying to do with the new regulations that they've enacted. And also that's why there's the additional requirement for you to approach NDPC to ensure that the data of these customers are adequately protected. Thank you.
Okay, so I can this actually relates to one of the questions that I'm just getting right now. So someone is asking, how does regulatory compliance address data privacy and security concerns for digital money lenders? Can you just like shed some more light on what
So if you can
requirements
come
are in
again.
place? Okay, there's a question here that says, how does regulatory compliance address data privacy and security concerns for digital money lenders? Right, and I think it's sort
How
of an
does
offshoot of what you are just talking. Can you hear me now?
yes I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the question is, how does regulatory compliance address data privacy and security concerns for digital money lenders? It's sort of related to what you were just speaking to now.
Yes, it is. I spoke about this that they set up requirements, and FCCPC even went further to make companies. There's a declaratory form, and if okay, not everybody's a lawyer, but a declaratory form for you to submit it, you are swearing because usually stamped by commissioner of oath. You are swearing that you are going to adhere to the principles, to the rules set up by this commission. So if you act contrary to this or to the declaration form, you are going out because once you've signed and stamped the declaration form, you've made an oath and is evidence that you are going to adhere to these laws. So the FCCPC has taken several steps, as I said earlier, by ensuring that these companies um, provide declaratory forms, they get the necessary reports from NDPC to ensure that they comply with all laws regulating consumer data privacy. Yes. And once these laws provides that they should not misuse or abuse the consumer data that is in their reach. So once they submit the reports and they make this declaration, and for example, when they act contrary to the rules of FCCPC. FCCP has the automatic power to revoke the license of these companies. So that's what they have. Like that's the way FCCPC ensure that these companies are regulated. But once they act contrary to the laws, their licenses are revoked. They delete their apps from Google
Play
Play
Store.
Store. Yes, and they make
Okay.
publication informing the public that this person is no longer a licensed digital money lending company, and that they will advise the public that you should not continue business with such company.
Okay. I don't know if you can see the question we have from YouTube.
Yes, I can see we don't have an app. Why do we have to take this FCCPC license? Okay, there are two there are two licenses here. The first one is just money lending. So if you're operating as just a money lender, you don't need FCCPC because FCCPC regulates digital. The digital is very, very important. So a company that is operating as a normal money lending company just only needs to collect the appropriate certification from CSC, and also from, if it's Abuja, from Chief Magistrate Court or Lagos Magistrate Court and the Ministry of Home Affairs, and then you can operate as a money lender. It's only when you want to progress and say, oh, okay, I want my app to be available to customers, because of course it will create a larger platform. So if you want to create apps to be available on Google Play Store, then you have to go through the third phase, which is with FCCPC.
Hi, so just an offshoot of that question, because what I'm thinking now is, does an app make you digital? Are there no other way? So what if you just have a website and you are operating digitally, but you don't have an app? Does that mean you're not under the purview of FCCPC?
Yeah, sorry. So there was an investigation from FCCPC where they noticed that people people that companies that don't want to be regulated, they use all these PDF documents or links where once you gain access to the link, you can apply for the loan. These methods are not recognized by FCPC because they cannot be regulated. They don't know what is going on in the app. They don't know, sorry, that link. They don't know if the company is complying with their regulations. That's why they set up the structure of app that's available on Google Play Store. So if you, for example, if as a customer you see a company that has a link but does not have app, and then another company that has app, it would be very, very advisable for you to use the app and not the link, because it's the app that is regulated by FCCPC and not links shared through any other means.
So does this mean that if you do not have an app, but maybe you're using a link or USSD code? I mean, there are a lot of other digital and non-manual methods of carrying out business. So does it mean once you don't have an app, you are not within the scope of USM of FCCPC?
For you to, if you don't have an app and you're operating in the digital space, you are you are your operation is in contrary with what FCPC is saying. If you want to operate as a money lending company without the digital space, then you have to focus on that operation. You cannot claim that, okay, I don't want to operate as a digital money lending company, and then you are um, working in between the lines, like creating links and everything. That is working in contrary to the rules and guidelines of FCPC. As the digital space is not just app. Do you understand? So if you want to operate as a digital money lending company, you have to. It is required for you to apply for an app. It is this app that is regulated by FCCPC. So if you are operating with links, you are already, even though you're operating as a digital money lending company, that's the kind of operation you're carrying out, and that is contrary to what FCPC guidelines states. So if you want to operate as a digital money lending company, you must go through applying for an app that will be available on Google Play Store.
Okay, sorry. I think you mean like building an app. Since if it was so easy to apply for app, we
Oh
just be
no, so
applying
so
for it.
sorry.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no,
I
no,
think I
yeah.
figured what you meant.
Yeah,
But that's a
yeah,
very, very important clarification, because what this means is that it's not so much as, oh, I don't have an app, then I'm not
yes.
regulated by FCCPC. It is that you are supposed to have an
You're
application
supposed
that
to.
your customers. I know there was an issue with a particular lending company whose name starts with S, and they were allowing their customers or directing their customers to download an APK file from their website, which they could use to install the app without having to, create an actual app that they have to
Yes,
go and now register on Play Store. And FCCPC was very particular about, using them as a scapegoat, essentially just saying that's not right. That's not the position that we are adopting. We are saying that if you're a digital money lender, you should have an application, a mobile application, I'm guessing, because again, too,
yes,
one of the things that our regulators do is that they come up with the regulation, but it's almost like they don't have anybody in the tech space that can kind of vet it, because you can also have a web
exactly.
application as well. So I don't really know whether or not they will to cover both web apps and mobile apps. But for the purpose of this
Yeah.
conversation, let's just say it's mobile
Let's
apps,
just
since they
say
said
yes,
Play Store.
yes,
I know they, yeah, so you should have an app. I think that's to answer that question, person's question. You should have a mobile application. If not, you stand the risk of being in contravention of FCCPC's rules. And Ola, to be honest, one thing I think our regulators should take away from this is that they also have to be very specific, because I don't recall seeing anywhere in the rules where they said you must have an app. Do you understand? Like, I know they just said that you
exactly.
should, it wasn't stated as a hard rule. Do you understand? It's not one of the other things that you would see it immediately and be like, oh, to be a digital money lender, I have to have an app. Okay, so we have just 5 more minutes to go. Let me just take another question that we also got, and then from there we can maybe look to how to close it. So, on a general overview, what do you foresee as the future trends in regulatory compliance for digital money lenders in Nigeria? What do you think the future is for money lenders in digital money lenders in Nigeria, especially in terms of compliance?
Okay. Um, this is hopefully that it will be a one-stop application process where once I'm done with this application, the portal will automatically take me to the next regulators portal that would, because right now the money lending process is you have to submit physically. Apart, it's only CAC that has been able to ensure that their operations are digitalized. But other ones, you still have
Yeah.
to go through that manual straight. And we all know how Nigeria is. You have to go there. You go today. They'll ask you to come back tomorrow. And you're looking for your documents and all those. So you have to write mails to this person, write mails, support staff, and everything. So it once I know that we are working towards it, hopefully, because right now the society is becoming more digitalized. So Nigeria will want to ensure that they are in par with the trends of society, and then the operations of money, the requirements for registration, everything will be done online. And apart from that, the sorry, yes, and I know that they'll be able to meet up with customer expectations. It will not just be about, there'll be more direct way of doing operations. That's for the companies now, not the regulators. That they'll be able to meet up with the customer expectations. But mostly the future trend will be making everything digitalized and ensuring that once you get you can download your certificate from the portal, you can apply to the next stage, because once everything is digitalized within 2-3 months, you should be able to complete all process with all the three regulators. Thank you.
Okay, Olami, I'm so sorry, but I think we have one final question. Someone says, I believe this is a Vind customer. The person says, we are running loans through Vind HQ digital banking, which is Prime and Vind. Now, my question is, Vind has a code. Do we have to apply for the FCCPC license? I think I can address that question. So, for us here at Vind, what we do is that we provide the technology infrastructure for you to be able to automate your lending process. Now, it works hand in hand with this conversation we are having, because the lending the money lending the money lending ecosystem started off first as a very manual process where you have to walk into a physical location and apply for a loan. That's really how it started off, and then we sort of moved to a point where you can now do that online. But more importantly, for the lender themselves, they now have the opportunity to disburse their loans in a very automated Okay, sorry. Then they have access to certain features like the credit decisioning engine. They can send SMS to their customers. I mean, a suite of different features that you can access. Now, Vind as an entity, because we are also playing in the money lending space ourselves, and because we have all these partnerships and in our own individual capacity as a money lender, we decided to get the FCCPC licensing and all the relevant things like the NDPR audit, the trust mark. We decided to get every single thing because again, we are playing and operating in this space, although we are just providing the technology infrastructure. So, as a on the entity, you are recognized by the FCCPC as a money lender, whether you are providing the services to a third party infrastructure like Vind or you are providing it on your own, you are still a digital lender. So you still have to get the FCCPC license. And to be honest, I think it's good for you because you can let your customers know that you have all these relevant certifications and you are recognized by the government or by the regulators as being compliant. So it goes a long way long way for you as a business as well. So I hope I answered that. We are out of time. Olami, I want to thank you so much for providing so much in-depth knowledge and really going into detail, because one of the things about this, one of the issues about this is knowing the step and the process. A lot of people get stuck in that process where they don't know how to continue. They're getting stonewalled by the regulators because they have, maybe gone 3 steps ahead of the regulator. Sometimes you see that somebody has gone to get clearance when they've not even done the initial step of sending the application to the magistrate. Like, those things can happen out of place. And one thing we like to always say that, always get, if you can't do it yourself, outsource to somebody who can. And that's one thing I can say about Integral. They can get it done. So I mean, like we said from the call, if you are on this call and you require any of these services, you can reach out to Integral LP. They are based in Abuja, so they are right at the heartbeat of how it's happening. FCCPC office is in Abuja. The lending license, you can get one in Abuja. CAC is headquartered in Abuja, right? So they are right at the heartbeat of these things, and they can get it done. At least they got it done for us. So I'll definitely make this recommendation. And like I said, I'm aware that there is a special discount for anybody that is coming through this platform. So thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate all your time, and we hope to see you at our next webinar. We have another session coming up, I think, on Monday or so. We have another webinar coming up on Monday. So please stay tuned to our social media pages, and you see a lot more information about
Thank you very much for the
some of the
opportunity.
information and the tidbits that we share and there. Thank you so much, Olaimi. Thank you everyone for joining, and have a great day ahead.